Yeah.
Can it last till then?
Yeah, I don't want to say it that way.
There is I'm not gonna lie, there is a certain level of prayers being sent out that all will be well. We did go, Brett Thomas, our operations manager, spent a fairly large amount of time this summer moving around our load, equalizing each phase to make sure that they all had the same amount of load on them, to reduce the amount of stress that we're putting on those transformers to lower the capacities. And we had to do an extensive amount of switching, and we even installed 2 more switches in the city to be able to redistribute some of the power during high load times. And we feel like it's a pretty good temporary solution where we're able to get that load down to a reasonable time where that transformer essentially isn't being as stressed as it has been in the last 2-3 years. This year we only went over the 10 MVA capacity one time so far, but we did still go over, and so that is concerning. But last year we pushed it all the way up to, I believe, 13.5 meg. So which they can get pushed, as long as you have the cooling fans and the cooling fins and the fans. They're rated at a higher capability. So we've also looked into companies that will have to bring in a mobile transformer. We have looked into companies and I've called and talked to them and found out kind of how that works. It's an insane amount of money. So we're really hoping that we've mitigated some of the concerns in the interim.
Thank you.
If you can get one in the 72 to 85 week period, that means only one more summer we have to get through, right?
Correct. Yes, that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that we'll just have to push through next summer, and then in the early spring of 2024, we would be putting it online, and then have it for the summer of 2024. That's the hope. They're seeing what they can do. There is a possibility we'll have to push it 2 more summers. That's hopefully worst case scenario.
And then the last question that I've got is with them being made in Mexico or assembled there, and I'm new to the city government, there's no Buy America clauses or anything like that we have to adhere to, is there?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Generally, that's if you're getting.
That's
If you're getting,
half the world I
if you're
deal
getting
with,
federal
so.
funding, usually that would be more of a
Yeah.
likely requirement, but
Okay.
local level, we can pick
Okay.
who we think is best for
Okay.
us.
Yeah. So, yeah, and they do fly us out to allow us to watch through the whole testing process of the transformer and those types of things. Originally, I thought I'm not going to worry about that, but the subtech from both Garcane and Moon Lake said, no, you definitely need to go to that, because that shows them that you have high interest in the quality of their work. And he said, let them know from the very beginning that you will be there to watch their work be tested. And anyway, so we are planning on going out for that as well.
And then there will be progress payments, or they're
Yes.
like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3,
Yeah,
or a quarter.
We're working on that right now. We have a meeting on Thursday to work through that, but as it's written right now, they require 25% upfront, and then it's broken down from there, from that initial 25 throughout the time frame for us to receive it.
And part of the answer to one of your earlier questions, Ed, was if you look at the deliveries, Delta Star's deliveries are out the longest.
Yep.
So they have enough of business, they jack their price up, and if you want it, you're
Yep.
gonna pay for it. So,
Correct. Yeah, and in Delta Star's bid as well, they put that was something that could be changed or postponed as well. A tentative, I guess.
that's not a firm delivery.
No, Delta Stars was not a firm delivery, which from our experience over the last year, that means it's probably gonna look like more like 150 weeks, not 130. So we took that into consideration as well.
So is there any action we need to take, or is this just for information?
No, that was mostly for your information, to see if you had any questions or concerns about it as we commence down this process, or moving down this road.
And it has been already approved by city council?
It has,
so
yes.
We are at least on their schedule now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Okay, any more questions on that item? Okay, we'll move on to the tree trimming contract.
All right. So we put a bid out for tree trimming, and originally the bid went out for units. There's 4 different units of the city, and I wanted them to bid on each unit to see what they would do, what they would do it as a whole. We got 3 bids back. One bid was significantly lower than the other 2, but their hourly rates were quite a bit higher than Diamond's, and it was also the company that we've been with for the last 4 or 5 years, and have had multiple problems and frustrations with them in the last year. So we wanted to steer away from them. And so what we did is we asked for an hourly rate from the 3 that gave us bids. Diamond Tree Experts came in significantly lower, the lowest from the other 3, or from the other 2. And so what we're looking at doing now is just continuing as we do now with Asplund, and just doing an hourly rate with Diamond Tree Experts. Again, I reached out and talked to their Bountiful being one of them. I reached out to the cities and corporations that use Diamond Tree, and they just had shining recommendations. Everyone had a lot of good to say about them. I talked to Jess Pierce over at Bountiful, and he said that they've been very pleased with the way they've worked with them and their efficiency to accomplish and do things. So, I guess what I'm looking from you guys is just some support that to move forward with Diamond and steer away from doing the units. We had one bid doing the units as a whole entire city. We had one bid come in at 2.4 million, which I about fell over when I saw that.
Don't have that many trees.
They were also asking just shy of $90 an hour for their lead trimmer, which is outrageous. And then Asplund had the lowest. They had the lowest per unit price, but their trimming prices per hourly rate were on average between $10 and $15 an hour higher than the comparable spots with Diamond. And as I discussed this, I thought, well, we probably, the cheapest route probably would be to stay with Asplund on a unit-to-unit basis. But to get the highest quality, I think to go with Diamond would be the route to go. And then also, as we discussed it, Asplund has had 5-6 years of tree counts for each unit. And so they know exactly how much needs to be done in every unit of the city, how many trees there are, what kind of trees there are. you know, where the trouble areas are. And so they were able to give a probably a lot more accurate bid for those units. And so I also felt that ethically, that probably wasn't the right thing to do anymore anyways, because now I'm asking other companies to bid against a company where they don't have the knowledge, and Asplund does. They know how many trees there are, they know everything. So, but we've thought about it to move forward, we feel like the best thing to do would be to go with an hourly rate with Diamond Tree Experts.
For the rest of everything, right?
Yeah.
So when you said Ashland with the units, and then Diamond at hourly, so would you keep two companies on, or just?
No, we would
Treat it as an hourly rate? and
treat it
not,
just as an hourly rate.
not
Yep, we would get rid of the units.
Okay.
And what it breaks down to is I broke down, so obviously Diamond is significantly cheaper. So on an hourly rate, it's projected that Diamond will probably cost the city about $335,000 a year. And then the other two were sitting at about $480,000 per year. But as a unit rate, they came in just under $600,000 to do the whole city. Diamond came in almost double that. But Diamond on an hourly rate will come in to do the whole city according to how long it's been taking Asplund to go through the city. They'll come in at about $600,000. So if you were to compare Diamond's hourly to Asplund's lowest on their unit rate, we'd be paying about $95,000 more a year for Diamond. But I also feel very confident that Diamond's gonna be able to go through our city at a fairly faster rate than Asplund did as well, which I think will probably even out the difference.
So have we spent around 600,000 per year previous, or what's been the
No,
range?
it takes about 2 years to get through our city.
Okay.
So right now, we've been budgeting $285,000 a year for Asplund. And what struck this is Asplund's wages were, last year, their wages were on an hourly rate exactly what Diamond just gave us the bid for. But when our contract ended, they said they were raising their rates. And so their rates went up about $15, $16 an hour per person. It came out to be $44.50, I believe, for a crew of 3. It totaled a difference of $44.50 an hour more.
So, and how much you budget 285 again, this, under the current budget?
Yeah, we did, and that should, from when their contract begins with Diamond, we should still fall within that budget because Asplund ended July 1. And so we should still fall fairly close within that budget. Next year, we will have to increase the budget for tree trimming. We'll have to increase it to about $350 for the year.
So do you need any action from us on this one?
More probably just your approval or recommendation to move forward with Diamond Tree Experts.
Want to do that like a motion? Just
Sounds
say-
great. I would love a
I'll
motion.
make a motion that we recommend that the tree trimming contract be given to Diamond Tree Experts based on the recommendations of our professional staff.
I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Awesome, thank you.
Okay, the next item is Millsoft OMS, which stands for Outage Management System, for those who don't know that term. Consent item for city council, so that's already gone to city council also.
Yes, and the city council tabled it until next week's city council. They wanted a little bit more information on it, and that's why I'm here talking to you about it now. They, I wasn't at the last city council, and our IT guy and our city manager, Shane Scott, did a phenomenal job on representing what they could on what that means. But I'm hoping to clarify a little bit better what we're looking for here, and hopefully even receive your support on moving forward with this. It's not necessarily through MillSoft. MillSoft is the company that we're currently looking at, but there's Surveillant, Empower, and MillSoft that we're looking at right now. MillSoft seems to be the company that is the most talking to other power departments and things like that. They seem to be the most developed or kind of the highly sought after program. Lehigh has it. They actually did a presentation up in Logan this year at UAMPS. It's a pretty sophisticated option. Comes with an IVR, which is basically a virtual dispatch that comes with it. But it's not necessarily MillSoft that we're looking to go through, but to develop or go with one of these companies to implement an outage management system that will also work with our SCADA and with as a virtual dispatch. So we would do away with the current dispatch that we're paying for. So basically, to break it down, right now we don't have anything. Right now our guys get a phone call. A resident will call a phone number. They'll talk to somebody in Illinois or Chicago or somewhere in the country, and they will take the message, and then they will call our on-call guy on the phone and say, we have an outage at this address. And right now that's how it works. It's extremely ineffective and not very good. Just in the last month, we've had 3 outage calls that came in anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half after the resident called it in, which is unacceptable. We have discussed this with their management, and they're very, very well aware of where I stand with that type of service. But we're looking into something that would be more immediate. And so there's an IVR, which I believe is interactive virtual response, I think is what it stands for. But basically it's a program. It's a fairly sophisticated program that allows people to interact with a computer program via text or phone call. There's also options in there that I didn't feel were as highly useful through a website and social media, the way that it worked. But that's options we can look into. But through the text or phone call, basically a resident can call in and then go through a series of questions to make sure what account, what address, what location, and report an outage or a half power or flickering lights or whatever it might be, some type of trouble call. That program will then send that information directly immediately to our on-call personnel. At that time, the OMS system kicks in. The OMS system is designed where it will be, we will have the whole entire city mapped out and GIS'd. And we will be able to look at our phone or at a computer, and we will be able to see our whole entire city's power grid and where we have an outage, what fuse it's coming from, what phase it's on. And we'll be able to see if it's isolated to one area of town, and we will then be able to communicate with the residents immediately, and we'll be able to immediately send out a text that we'll be able to get on our phone and say, this outage here, send a text to all of the account numbers on this outage. And we can say, crews are responding, we're aware that you're out of power. We'll give an update as soon as we can. As soon as crews get on site and are able to see what's going on, again, we'll be able to take 30 seconds and notify anywhere from 2 people, 1 person, up to 100, 200 people, be immediately notified through the number they have on their account. what may be the cause. A car took out a power pole. We have crews on their way. We will have you on as soon as we can. So it's an informative option that we can keep in contact with them. But as it's integrated, we will also have options for our crews. There's a program within this that will take the information from the outage. It'll tie into our SCADA. It'll be able to register how big of a fault it was and where the fuse blew. And it will then be able to give our on-call guy an analysis that will say, your predicted location of the fault is X feet from the blown fuse. And we can then go out on our system or on our line a certain distance, and we'll have a starting point of where to locate where the wire went bad or the transformer that went bad, which will reduce our outage time significantly. It will also, once it's integrated and we're all set up, we'll be able to analyze loads, people that are going in and out of power. For an example, on the west, when we have these east winds, it'll be able to allow us to break down our whole entire city right in front of us on a screen, where the outages are, where our trouble areas. Allow our guys to be able to see and have a big picture of the outage and the managing steps that need to take place. So it's pretty neat. I don't know, I have no idea what Bountiful, do you guys have an OMS set up?
No.
So, yeah, it's,
You can also link that to your AMI
Yes,
system
correct.
that was just put in, so.
yep.
that
Yeah.
Automated metering infrastructure.
Yeah, it's
And I guess maybe
really
that's what I
neat.
thought. We've already got that, right? The AMI,
Yes.
and I guess that's what I thought. When there is an outage, we could know that.
Right,
From that, but this
it'll
is-
connect into our AMI, our metering system, and it will also allow us to connect into our billing system. And it will kind of integrate everything into each other, and just provide an option for us to have better two-way communication or one-way communication with the residents. It also will allow us, if we're having a scheduled outage, right now we'll talk about it in a minute, but we're starting the rebuild of King Clarion right now. And right now what we do is we go around, we knock on each door, we tell them what's going on, and we put a hanger on their door. In this case, we would go and we would select what feeder we'll be working on. It'll automatically pull up all the homes that are on that feeder, and we'll type in the message that we want to send to everybody on that account. And we can send out within a minute a report to every single home or number associated to that account that, hey, just so you're aware, we're working in your area. We have a scheduled outage from this time to this time. Please, if your power's not back on by this time, please call and let us know, type thing. So there's a lot of things that it does. It really opens up a lot of doors.
Does more than what the AMI
Correct.
does now. Okay.
Yeah, it does quite a bit more than just what the AMI does at this time.
Yeah, it gives you a good mapping system of it, as well as the communication link.
Correct. Yeah, they did a demonstration for all of our crews. I wanted all of our guys on the crews to be there for one of the demonstrations so that they could question and really just think outside the box. And I challenged them going into it to think of things that they feel like would be beneficial for us and for Kaysville. And there was a lot of really good feedback, and it really just allows a lot more efficiency for our guys to be able to mitigate problems, to start troubleshooting before they even arrive to the outage. Right now, we don't know what it is until we get there, and it's just a crapshoot trying to say, well, that house and that house is out, so it's probably something like this. And we had to start looking into it where we would already know all that information before we even arrived with this setup. And so what I'm looking for is this wasn't an action item, or it wasn't not an action item. Sorry, it wasn't a budgeted item on this year's budget. I don't know if we're going to go with MillSoft. Our SCADA system was budgeted. We may Surveillant is one of the SCADA people. They also offer these same IVR and outage management options. So we are basically, I'm just asking for you guys to, we feel like MillSoft would be the most, we're not going to exceed what quotes and things that they've already given us. Empower has given us a quote for the dispatch side of it, but we have not received any information from them on the OMS side of it yet. And so we haven't really seen what they are capable of and the prices there. But right now, we're looking at about $145,000 for an initial cost and a annual subscription of approximately $60,000 to maintain, operate, and run this OMS system with the IVR interactive dispatch with the residents.
And how much do we pay right now for the dispatch service that we have?
Yeah, just the dispatch alone, right now, we're paying about $6,300 a year currently. So, Empower's dispatch set up without the OMS system. We're looking at just the IVR. So this, the numbers I just gave you was for the OMS, the outage management system, and the automated dispatching program. That was for both. Empower was the same initial cost just for the IVR of about $145,000, but their annual subscription thereafter for the dispatch was sitting at about $5,000 or $6,000 a year. So currently what we're paying right now.
And what was the other one? The MillSoft?
Surveillant.
No,
So
the MillSoft, what was the price, or the
Oh,
MillSoft?
they're at $145,000 initial cost
and
with a $62,000 annual.
62.
Yeah, annual cost. That would include the OMS and the dispatch.
Let me throw it's really not a fair question to ask you at this point, but maybe you could at least maybe try to approximate it. Obviously, I think this is a good idea for both reasons. I think there will be efficiencies on your side, better operations, and obviously it's good for the residents also in terms of having information and keeping them informed, which is, that's worth $1. Could you hazard a guess out of the $60,000 ongoing? Are we going to save a quarter of that inefficient, just based on your response or something like that?
No, definitely. So I haven't ran any numbers like on my thoughts, but I have talked with some of our guys and their feelings on what this would provide us and our capabilities. The first thing that you can't really put a dollar sign on is the interactive. Right now we're paying $6,300 a year for no interaction, a delayed response, and really subpar service. It's not acceptable, and our citizens, our residents, deserve better. And so, just that alone, is gonna up that price significantly. I feel like the options of us, we're not gonna have guys out on a scheduled outages going door to door talking anymore. We'll be able to do more prep for the job and do a 2-minute or 3-minute notification rather than a 2 or 3 hour notification for these bigger outages. And so there's some pickup there. And then to give you an example, about 2 months ago, we had a series of outages on the west side. We had a transformer go bad. We actually had 2 transformers go bad, and then up over off of Laurelwood, we had a underground wire go bad. And between those 3 outages, we were chasing wire, testing everything for approximately 20 to 25 hours with a crew of 4 or 5 guys running multiple testers. We finally were able to locate. We chased a couple ghosts that took us a little bit longer, which was on us. That was human error. But we didn't have a starting point to go with except that it wasn't blowing the fuse. It was tripping our recloser. And so we had to go from the sub out. And both transformers that went bad one of them was the farthest transformer from the sub you could possibly get on the west end, out in Equestrian. So it just took us a long time because you got to start from the beginning. And we did play a couple guessing games where I said, okay, open that fuse and then throw it in, and it stayed. So we're like, all right, well, we know it's from here on. And so that was our starting point. So we started there and just leapfrogged and tested wire and turned people on as we went. With this outage management analysis, due to the strength, so you put in all of your fuse sizes, the type of fuse, the wire gauging, the sizes, underground, overhead, everything, and it'll basically read how strong the fault was in the line, and it'll compute back to you a distance from that location where the fault is. So we'll have a starting point. And in something like this, if we had a starting point, the outage would have been maybe an hour. And so you have all that time and resources and everything that we're going into an 8 or 9 hour outage that could have been mitigated with this in an hour. Now, I will be honest with you, Kaysville, regardless of what the citizens say, in comparison to the nation, we have a very reliable system. We were in the 90-something percentile last year for reliability. I think it was like 94%. And we want to get that. We want to get that even better. And so we don't have a really large frequency of outages, even though I'm told constantly otherwise. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. We're more than happy to talk to whoever and address concerns or mitigate what's going on. But the outages we do have oftentimes are very long, lengthy outages just to find out what needs to be fixed or where the burnup is or where the concern or the issue lies. And we feel like there would be quite a bit of cost there that would be mitigated.
So if this is not in your budget, then would this be a budget request from the city?
It would.
To allocate additional funds?
Correct,
to be able to-
yep. And so this would be a budget request from us, basically, to city council to consider approving this as being the top limit that we would be allocated to be able to implement or pursue something of this nature, an IVR, a digital dispatch, or with an OMS system.
So this would still be paid for from power department funds?
Correct, yes. This would be in the power department's budget. It would come from power department fees. Yes.
Okay.
And do you want any action from us on this? Or?
I would love to hear your feedback and your feelings on it, and if there is an agreement, I would absolutely love a motion.
Well, I think we're okay with you pursuing the options, but I think you need to bring it back to us for a recommendation from us to go to city council if you're not to the point yet that you have a recommendation to present to us.
On which company we'll go with? Is
Yeah,
that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
But you probably want to have at least our support going to the city council to say this is a good thing.
Yeah, I think I've already
Right.
said on record, I think it's a good idea. I
Right.
think it's going to be a better service for the residents. I think it's going to help you in your operations and making things
Right.
more efficient in terms of responding, and also, like you said, in terms of reducing the time an outage might happen, because you have all this upfront information. So
Okay.
I think, you know,
Yeah,
I would certainly say to the council,
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to pursue. Obviously, budget's always going to be an issue, but we can evaluate that when
Yeah.
you get your final costs.
Do you feel like the numbers that I've given you is a reasonable max point of where to go?
I couldn't say, I don't know, I'm not that familiar with it. I guess the only question I would have, and I'm sure the council's going to ask, is what goes into that significant annual cost, and why it's so much higher than, say, what the dispatch we have now?
Okay.
And I think that's a question they're going to, I would expect them to ask you.
Right.
So, that doesn't mean that I would not support it, you need to know
Right.
what's driving the cost.
So, and it sounds like you're looking at three options. One is the MillSoft, one is M-Power, and the other one's Surveillant.
Correct.
And do you have a pretty good feel on what the total cost is for each one of those?
I don't, not to a significant amount. I feel like after talking to the companies that have dealt with these others, that it would be below the price that I've just given you on those other two. But then I also don't know for sure what their programs are going to offer as well, whether they'll be able to have the same analysis and programming and capabilities. But I do agree with Alan that to fully weigh out all three would be we're planning on doing that moving forward, and weighing out options of what we have on the table.
Well, it sounds like all three of them have that 145,000 initial fee.
Yeah, there's going to be the initial fee. I would guarantee that on all three of them, you're probably going to have an initial cost of around $150,000. Definitely would plan on that. And then where the big fluctuation is probably going to come in would be the annual subscription to continue to use their software and their programs in our OMS and in the dispatch system. So, and there are small additional fees. For example, it's 0.05 cents per text in addition to it.
Do we have, so the metering, is it the AMI? Is that what we?
Correct, yes.
Is that a similar type of software or yearly fee that we pay for that, or is that integrated into the actual meter?
We do pay an annual subscription for Yukon, the metering system that we have. But that metering system is not an outage management system. It's simply a metering option that gives us, it does notify us when they go out of power, but it doesn't have the analysis capabilities or anything of that nature. It also we're able to remotely control the meters, limiters, turn them on and off, get reads within the last 15 minutes from them. And those capabilities, which by itself is really, really good technology. I'm able to pull the information off of any meter in the city and do a load study, find out what kind of, over the last year, what kind of loads they've been pulling, what time, and those types of things. So, but they don't provide anything beyond that, any type of outage management.
And you'll have the same thing with the Surveillant
Correct.
SCADA software. It'll have an annual fee that goes with that as well.
Yep. Yeah, and we've actually already started moving forward with Surveillant on our SCADA, on the SCADA side of things. So.
Well, I think we're in agreement with you pursuing that. It would be a good thing to implement.
Awesome.
So,
Okay, we'll move forward with it, with the plan of, when we narrow things down a little bit more and have, things finalized a little more, maybe, determining, what would be the best route.
Did the council have any specific concerns, or did they just
Yeah, they did. They had several concerns on what. I sent them the actual breakdown of MillSoft subscriptions and things that they would cover and didn't cover, and they were really concerned about all the things they weren't going to cover in the program. But what they didn't understand is that the reason that we weren't having them cover those things was because the city was already equipped for those things. We already had the server, we already had the GIS set up, we already had all the things that we didn't need them to implement. And so we won't want to pay for something we're already equipped to do. And so that was excluded. And so that was a major concern of theirs. I wasn't there, and so I wasn't able to give them the same spill I just gave you. But at the end of the day, one of the biggest pushes for it is the interactive dispatch. I've heard over and over and over again that the residents want more communication, they want more feedback, they want more interaction with where are we on outages. Rocky Mountain Power has this, they give us updates, we get notifications if you log into your account and that kind of thing. And this mitigates those concerns, but also improves our ability as a power department to be able to resolve issues and manage the outage. So, yeah.
Are you going to get yourself on overload dealing with SCADA and this and substation upgrades all at the same time?
That's a very good question, Alan. Yes. To be very frank and honest with you, there's a lot that I'm trying to take in all at once right now. And for that reason, I have put a lot of this, the SCADA and that type of stuff, I've put a lot of it on other personnel. Greg Remington, our substation tech, I've basically turned it over and said, listen, come to me and talk to me about the SCADA, what do we need, but this is your baby. You're going to oversee it. You're the one that's going to manage it when it's up and running. You're going to be the one that make it yours, make it what you want it to be. And I'm doing the same thing with the other concerns. And I feel like if I was trying to be the one that oversaw all of it, no, I think it would be too much. And I think it would be an unfruitful result. I think it would be very hard for me to keep all my ducks in a row because even though I'm delegating the way I am, it still is. I have to constantly review what was it that I was, what direction were we going and where are we at with each category. So, but I feel like we have a very good support system. Brett Thomas is very involved. Bruce Rigby's involved. And then Greg Remington as a sub-tech is highly involved as well. So, and that was one of the reasons that I pulled all of our crews in to see what we were looking at, because I wanted our foremen and our journeymen to be able to see exactly what the capabilities and what this would mean and take and require of everybody to oversee that this program stays up to date and running and effective. So, but yeah, no, that is a very legitimate concern.
Okay, and anything else on that item? Okay, we can move to rebuild of King Clarion.
Okay. So this is just to bring you kind of up to date and let you be aware and know we have officially started the rebuild of King Clarion. We currently have crews up there. In the last 3 weeks, I think we've set, it's really slow going because there are a million rocks. And we're having to hand dig a very large portion of it because it's not accessible with the machinery and stuff that we have. And so where we can, we are using a vac trailer and we're using a backyard machine to access and do a lot of this. But in the last 3 weeks, I think we've put 7 or 8 poles in the ground and started all of that process to rebuild. A lot of the poles in King Clarion are 35-foot poles with a primary line. Where there is trees and down in the gullies, we're increasing that up to 45-foot poles, where we can really get it up and out of the way. We're going from 8-foot arms to 10-foot arms, and we are just really increasing and trying to rebuild the structure so that the infant structure is a lot more robust. It's up higher, out of the way, and less likely to be damaged from trees and other sources. So when we have several poles that have tested that are bad, that we're working on replacing up in that area as well. So it's just kind of slow going. We've had a lot of people want to know why we're not putting them underground. And I'm more than happy to educate them on why not. It's a process. It really is. But we've started that. It's a major, as everyone knows, it's a major concern in our city right now. It's a weak point, and we've started that work. So, as a power commission, if you're asked about King Clarion, I know our city council's getting asked a lot about it right now, the dilapidated system that we have up there. We have started the rebuild of all of that area, and it'll probably take us a couple years because of the gullies and the rocks and the backyards and the issues. But we're hoping to be able to move at a fairly good rate to get that infrastructure up and a lot more reliable. I'm very confident with the changes that we're making that we will mitigate and see a lot less issues. Last week we found a concern where there was a house that was being fed 6 spans of wire to a house, and we had no idea. And so we went and talked to them and found out that they've been having low voltage problems for a long time. And our AMI system first alerted it, our metering system first alerted us that they were having problems, and we were able to mitigate and address that as part of this rebuild. So we're finding more and more things that need to be restructured and redone in a different manner, in a different way than they were 50 years ago.
So when you say rebuilding King Clarion, so what exactly is that entailing? It sounds like it's replacing the poles, replacing the wires, replacing the feeds to each house? Is that,
no, all the services will remain the same. The triplex that comes from the pole that feeds down to the service on the home, that several of them do need extensions. So we'll take a section of wire and with connectors, connect it and extend it. Up
because
to,
you're going a taller pole. And,
yep.
Okay.
A lot of it also has what's called open drops. A ton of open drops all throughout King Clarion. And what that is it's on the secondary low voltage side. You'll see 3 separate wires that are sitting anywhere from 10 inches to 2 inches apart. And there'll be 3 of them there all ran together. The middle one generally is always the neutral, and then the 2 outside are hot legs, 120 each. And the insulation's all corroded, falling off of them. The wire's nailed, it's old, it's garbage. Trees are growing up in it, the wind blows, they slap together, blows a fuse. And so a lot of issues that we're having up there are from those, and we're getting rid of them. We're taking all of our open drop down, we're having a designated neutral, because with those open drops, you're sharing a neutral. The secondary neutral and the primary neutral are the same. And it's just really not a good system. And so we're working on running triplex everywhere that there is low voltage lines, having a designated primary neutral, and making sure, so we'll go through and we'll rebuild a whole pole, all the transformers cutouts. The transformer will stay the same, but if the cutout and the resters or the arms or anything like that, we're replacing. Now, if it's been replaced recently and is in decent shape, we'll keep it and we'll transfer it to the new pole. We'll try and be as efficient as we can that way. We won't replace all of the conductor, mostly because we don't have the equipment to pull new conductor. But where we can and where we're capable to, we are going to do new conductor. And then once this infrastructure and everything's up in place and we've kind of rebuilt, I do have plans. I get so many irons in the fire. We do have plans to acquire the proper equipment to pull new overhead lines. And once we have that equipment, we will start that process as well. But which will also be a lot easier with a newly built spread out system. So.
And how long did you say you've started and it's going to take 2 years? Is that what you said?
That's the goal. That's my goal. It's our guys are just absolutely phenomenal. It's like those proud moments when your kid comes in and does something you've been hoping they would catch on and do, And today I had 4 guys come in my office to show me a funny clip on one of their phones at the very end of the day. It was like 4:20. We're about to go home at 4:30, and they came in to show me something that had occurred over the weekend that they knew I would find comical, and they were just covered in mud. Just mucked in mud. And that was one of those proud moments where I thought, gosh dang it, they're doing a good job. They're busting their butts to try and to get this done, because they don't like it any more than the residents do. We take a lot of pride in what we do. And we want our system to be the best system it can be, just as much as they want a good system, so they don't go out of power. But they are. So my hope and goal is that in 2 years, 3 max, that whole entire area will be rebuilt. Now we do have other things we have to go and do and address. We can't dedicate 9 guys to that area, but they've already knocked out 3 or 4 small sections of 3, 4 spans, 5 spans of wire. Already, so it's going in a very positive and good direction. So, yeah.
Okay, any questions? Any more discussion there? Okay, let's go to the direct buried wire.
Again, these next 2 items again are just going to kind of be just to bring you up to speed, to let you know where we are and what we're doing. I've reached out to multiple boring companies. I've also reached out to Logan, who has their own in-house crew. And we are hoping by next spring that we will have some fairly concrete. I was hoping actually to have some response from a few of them before this meeting, and that's why I put it on here, but I haven't got a response for them. Or else I wouldn't have even put this on here, because I feel like it's kind of a waste if I can't give you direction with companies that will be, because it's all going to be contracted, the boring portion of it would. So what we're looking for right now is basically a company's going to come in and pull all new, it won't, so there's stuff called CIC, it's cable in conduit, but it's a seamless conduit. And that's what they will pull in. Now, it won't have the conduit in it, so it won't be true CIC, but we're going to have them come in and pull in 3-inch seamless conduit from one vault to the next, at least for the single phase. And then we will go and push in all the wire and terminate it. And I've reached out to a couple boring companies, and I thought I would hear back from them before this meeting has occurred, but I have not, on what that would cost-wise and time frame, what it would look like, how much time would it take. I sent them I sent them a small section of our 2400 system that we still have in town with a map in hopes to get a feel for how long it would take for them to bore that in and what kind of cost it would be for that project. But I haven't heard back, so I really don't have much to tell you there. I wouldn't have even put it on there had I known I wouldn't have heard back
So you're
yet.
looking to put in the 3-inch conduits and then you'll go back and pull the wires?
Correct,
through
yeah,
those? Okay.
yeah,
And
and-
3 inches is enough for what we need?
Yeah, for single phase, for the triplex secondary and single phase, and most everything that we'll be doing, it will be, at least right now, will be single phase. But then when we get to 3 phase, we'll have to start looking more like, depending on wire size, we'll have to have 4 or 6 inch conduit, depending on the size of the wire. But that's where the 2400 system is my first concern there. The majority of all of that will be 3-inch seamless.
Do we have enough work? I mean, if we wanted to go buy a machine like Logan, do we have enough work to keep a crew busy, or no?
Yeah, that's a super good question. I talked to Logan quite a bit about it, and after talking to them about how much the equipment cost, how long until we could get the equipment, do the proper training on how to use the equipment, and all of that in place, I felt like that it wouldn't be the right scenario. I don't feel like we have excess amounts right now that needs immediate attention to justify what that would entail and require, especially where boring is becoming so popular. And even 5 years ago, to bore a smaller section is significantly cheaper now to do the same thing. And so, but that is on the table. I haven't taken that off the table yet because I want to get responses from these companies that do it and see how much it's actually going to cost. Because if I find out it's going to cost me $60,000 to go 600 feet, well,
Let's go
like,
buy a machine.
that's what we paid on 650. I believe it's 650 north, going up off of Fairfield. We pulled in a whole new 3-phase line going up that road about 6 years ago, and that's what we paid. It was about 600, 700 feet, and it was approximately $70,000. And I personally think that's outrageous. I don't know. I wasn't in this spot then. I was just the guy that was being told what was going on. But if that's the case, I will definitely be a lot more open to entertain something like what Logan City is doing right now.
Do you have money specifically budgeted for that
I
in
do.
this year's budget?
Yes, this year's budget, I budgeted $150,000 towards that purpose. And the reason that I only did 150 is because I didn't know. I didn't know what it would be. And this is kind of a trial year. It's a preliminary year where I'm going to see how far $150,000 will get me. And then next year I can really buckle down and say, all right, now we know. Now we know, and I only need 150,000 again, or I need 400,000 or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so I thought I would start on the lower end until I could get a true accurate feel of what that would inquire.
Well, you'll get your best bang for your buck if you give them enough area to come and
Yeah.
schedule to do it first thing in the spring, and they can go through and just keep going.
Just keep on going.
Yeah, if you do it
Okay.
one here and one there, you'll get hit for mobilization and demobilization
Okay,
on every job, so.
it's really good to know.
Do a package of them,
Okay,
and then you could maybe take your best guess and maybe overshoot a little bit,
yep,
and then back down to, tell them, we want you to give us a price for each one of these sections separately, and then
And then
we'll
back
have
up.
to adjust to what we can afford to do.
Gotcha.
But a lot of cities shut down boring after the water irrigation shut off, so you're
Yeah.
about out of time to do anything this
Yeah,
fall.
we are, yeah,
But if you had that lined up for spring, as soon as you can
have that
get
ball
after
rolling.
it in spring, that would probably be the cheapest way to do it, is one
Okay.
big package.
That's good to know. And like you said earlier, I have a lot of irons in the fire, so I haven't, this is one of those things that I haven't, right now I'm just trying to gather some information on it. I haven't really pursued the push moving forward with it, as heavily. It's more just, shooting out feelers, from options and departments, so.
Okay, last item, well, last one for you probably, Schick substation.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier about when we were talking about the GE Prolec, ECI is currently working on prints for our Schick substation to have all the infrastructure built for the new bay, where that new transformer will go. Again, I was hoping to have their numbers back before this meeting. Originally, we were told that they'd have them to us over a week ago, but due to a family emergency and some unforeseen problems and scheduling, ECI hasn't got those to us yet. But we have been in close contact with them, and they are getting it. But I was hoping to come here to be able to talk to you a little bit more about what all that was going to entail, and pricing and time frame. That was another big one, is time frame. And I was going to pester you to find out your feelings and thoughts on it being constructed in-house versus hiring a contractor such as Wasatch Electric to come in and build it for us. This is all new to me. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've been harassing the guys that were around when they did add and build in our other substations, and it's just a evolving world that we live in. So when I got those numbers and those quotes, I was hoping to come to you as a commission and discuss what we feel would be the best route, hiring it, or we don't get our transformer for X amount of time. Is this something that our guys we'll have someone come in and lay all the foundation work, and then our guys will all be able to construct it. But then we also have to take into consideration the time that we're being pulled away from the King Clarion rebuild, all the other projects that we have going on. So, anyways, so that was information I was hoping to have a little bit more on as well.
So
tonight, but I don't.
ECI will give us, with the specs and the plans along with that is an order sheet, basically, of all the materials,
Yeah.
parts and the pieces, everything we need. So yeah, I mean, I guess, once we see that, but I think for you, whether you do it in-house, whether you don't, I mean, that's a big thing up to you, right? And the availability of your crews. I mean, if they think they can do it and they want to do it, and if they have the technical expertise to put it together, great. If it's one of those things that is continually evolving, that, hey, maybe I'm not completely up to speed, bringing in the people that do it all the time. But like say, if they even if they want to do it, they get pulled off from
Right.
something else, right? Now, maybe 2 years away, there'll be enough breaks in there that they can, work on it in the downtime, but it's really kind of up to, I think, you and
Okay.
your foreman, I think, what you would want to do. If something you want to take on, if it's not, or like say it's, if King Clarion's the number one priority, focus their attention for that for
Awesome.
the next 2 years and bid it out, so. Because I'm assuming, you've got several companies that would take that, right? I mean, you got
Yeah.
Wasatch and Hunt and Cache Valley and all of those that would probably,
Jump at it.
yeah, okay.
It is good experience for your line crews though,
Yeah.
too. So
True.
it just
True.
depends on
Where we're
time
at.
you
The
have
priorities and the
and-
time,
And in this case, you do have some time.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the ones we've been doing, it's tear a sub down and get it rebuilt.
Fast.
Yeah, because you've got to have it back
Next
online
week.
for your summer load again, and, but you're not in that boat, so it is an option. It kind of depends on how interested your linemen are in getting that kind of experience,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how much other work they have to do. You know, you hate to,
Pull away.
yeah, you hate to keep bouncing them around, but they might want to do that, just,
Get that knowledge and
Yeah.
experience of what's in the substations.
Yeah.
So we do have 4 apprentices right now, which be good experience for them as well, but.
And
definitely-
maybe
definitely
you
good
do it for
consideration.
the first year and, leave the, if you've got 2 years, not that they're an emergency bailout, but maybe you give it the first year, and if you've made some good progress on it, like, oh yeah, we can get this done, or oh, no, we are not gonna get this done, and so we need to have somebody else come in or something
Have them
like
come in and look it over. That's, I like that thought. Definitely good option to consider, so thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
anything else?
Nope, not for me.
And
Lot going
anything
on.
from the public? Okay. All right. Then I guess we're where we can adjourn. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
And hopefully it cools off soon.